the knee. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Don Woolley back again with another subscriber request. So before I hit up the lands of ice and fire tonight I'm going to be talking about oaths and vows in the world of ice and fire, and this was requested by Renwood. So let's get into it. So, in A Song of Ice and Fire, we are introduced to a number of different organizations, and many of them, in order for you to join, you have to either swear some type of vow, or some type of not necessarily oath of fealty, but you got to pledge your service to it. And the main organizations that we know of that you have to take vows for are the Night's Watch and also the King's Guard. Those are like two most serious ones. But then you also have other orders like the Maesters. You have now the Faith Militant. I'm pretty sure you have to take some type of oath or a vow for that, even though it's not fully explained, or it's not fully went into how you would be part of the Faith Militant. And then also you got sellsword companies. You have your houses that they have to pledge oaths of fealty to the greater houses. If they're a lesser house, they're bannermen or whatever. And it's a thing that definitely is a theme throughout the entire story thus far, because you run into characters who kind of idealize these organizations, and then find out that sometimes it's not all it's cracked up to be when they actually get into it. And one character being Jon Snow. He looked up to the men of the Night's Watch for a very long time. Him being a boy growing up in Winterfell, and basically knowing that he wasn't going to get an inheritance when he became grown. Hearing stories of Starks manning the wall for the Night's Watch for thousands of years, and he was very enthusiastic to get into the Night's Watch, and he was like, yeah, I want to be a ranger. And the first opportunity he got to go to be on the wall to the hard tree and say his oaths, or his vows, he took it. And it wasn't until after he took the vows and found out that he was going to be a steward instead of a ranger, and kind of what that would entail, that he was kind of like, oh damn, I done kind of fucked up. But obviously we've seen him grow into a leadership position, and he's embraced what it means to be a watcher on the wall. Another character who has kind of issues with vows is Jaime Lannister. He was a man who looked up to members of the King's Guard, and he was supposed to be Lord of Casterly Rock if he hadn't joined the King's Guard. And he's kind of reluctant about the whole situation, not because of what he had to give up necessarily in terms of his inheritance and having a relationship with Cersei, as crazy as that one is. It's more so because, especially during Robert's rebellion, that was the thing when his vows got tested the most, because now people are looking at it like, all right, well, you swore to protect the king and his family, and when things were looking bad, you betrayed your oath. And again, most people obviously don't know that the reason why he killed Eris II is because the dude was about to burn down the entire city, and he was like, "Oh yeah, bring me your father's head." It's like, well, how do you order a man to bring you his own father's head, and then expect him to sit, by um, while you burn down the city and try to kill, thousands of people? So, so it's a very conflicting thing, because, after that he still stayed in the King's Guard, and eventually became Lord Commander after Barristan Selmy was dismissed, but he's have definitely has to feel some sense of loss, because his life is tied to the King's Guard and the actions he took there. And instead of people looking at it like, all right, well, he did his duty for the realm, nah, they just look at it as, oh yeah, he's the dude that killed the king, and that's how we got Robert on the throne. And then, again, with the oaths of fealty, you have a guy like Walder Frey, right? So during Robert's rebellion, he was the guy who showed up basically at the end of it. He was a bannerman of Hoster Tully, and while he was, supposed to send troops when Hoster Tully called his banners, you know, he just kind of was like, all right, well, listen, I don't care about that shit. I'll get there when we get there, whatever. And if we don't ever get there, then who cares? And that also relates to guest right, because to a certain extent, that's pretty much a vow. You know, if you give someone bread and salt and wine beneath your roof, that's supposed to be a sacred pact. You're not supposed to betray that, because basically that besmirches your honor, and shows that not only are you not trustworthy, but I mean that's beyond treacherous. Now we don't really see that much with the cultures in Essos. That's really more of a Westerosi thing. In Essos, especially like sellsword companies, it's more of these guys signing contracts, and contracts can be broken, and it may not be uh, such a big deal as with taking a vow and in front of a bunch of people and swearing to uphold this particular cause. Knights also swear vows, and part of the reason why the Hound decided he never wanted to be a knight is because he saw his brother, who was knighted at a young age, and a bunch of other people over the years who had sworn to do all these things as a knight. Basically, just like, yeah, that don't mean shit, yeah, I got my armor, or I got whatever sigil painted on me, but all of that, sir shit doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's nice, because maybe I get some people that have to bow to me, or whatever may have you. But if you look at the way that the knights in this story operate for the most part, yeah, it was kind of not such a great thing to be a knight whatsoever. not from their perspective. From their perspective, it's awesome. But from someone who's not a knight, maybe a member of small folk, or I don't know, just someone they might have happen to come across. It's one of those things where it's like, damn it, man, oh, here come the knights, and yeah, we know what it's supposed to mean according to the stories, but that ain't what it is at all. Um, yeah, so it with the series, being not based around, but that being so entrenched in the series, let's get to the Maesters, because the Maesters, their whole thing is, yeah, they're pledged to a certain house, or not even just the actual house, but they're pledged to the castle. And we've seen, with Maester Crescent, with Maester Lewin, with Grand Maester Pycelle, and even with Qyburn, that even though the Maesters are supposed to work on behalf of that particular fortress where they are stationed, that their loyalties may not so much be to the organization of the Maesters as a whole, or to the actual place where they were pledged, but it might be more to the family who runs it at the time, or to a particular person. And we've seen how that can come into conflict with their actual duties, and what kind of consequences that can bring, not only for themselves or that family, but for also the realm as well. And I'm pretty sure there'll be further consequences as time goes on. You know, like there's the theory that the Maesters were responsible for getting rid of the dragons. Uh, because supposedly they just don't like magic. And it's just kind of a funny thing to think about, because there's so much that when it comes to vows, oaths, and I will also say even pacts, that we're not sure how serious it's actually supposed to be, because it seems like no matter what, people were kind of like, oh yeah, I said the words, but yeah, the popular phrase of words are wind. So with that being said, it's I don't know, it's kind of real tricky subject as to how serious as the reader are we supposed to read into it, because also how serious as a character are they actually into all of this stuff. Is it just pageantry, just to hold up tradition, or is it a real kind of tangible thing, an ideal for these people to actually strive for? I don't know. You guys leave me your thoughts. Um, what do the vows and the oaths in this series mean to you? Are they just words, or is there an actual meaning to any of it at all? Yeah, because at this point, I'm not actually sure that any of those vows mean anything, because again and again we have seen that when the opportunity arises, you have people who will take that opportunity to say, fuck the vows, You know, I got other shit I'd rather be doing right now. So, uh, I'll be back with another video, you know, right after this, another subscriber request, another kind of, you know, fireside chat about wargame. And then tomorrow, you know, uh, I'm gonna be back with a few more videos. Because I'm gonna be traveling to the lands of ice and fire. But tonight, you know, while I'm not out there talking about specific characters, these are two topics that I definitely want to touch on. So you already know the deal. Rate, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, come back for more. That's been my time. Don Willie, I'm out.